Okay, so on Tuesday and Wednesday is Rosh Chodesh, and we're going to be saying LeDavid Ori, Hashem Ori for the next 40 days. And I woke up this morning and I had a metaphor in my head that I wanted to share with you from this week's Parshat also. So there's two currents that word is specifically on purpose. There are two currents that are going on throughout the entire Torah in terms of our relationship with God. There's the fear of God and the love of God. And these are very hard concepts to tackle in terms of visualizing them. And this morning I woke up with one and I thought of a boat. And basically the current in the water, that is the Yira of Hashem. It's always there. And what we have in this week's Parsha is the king is told he has to write a Sefer Torah. But the reason he has to write it is Leman Yomad Liyira et Hashem Elokav, that he has to come to learn that fear of God. And the idea that the rabbis say is that the fear of God is that God is in charge of everything. And that's almost like a fatalistic idea. But the king at the baseline has to know that God's behind everything and in charge of all. But what is the second thing? Is Ahava. So where does Ahava come in? The boat metaphor is, that's the wind. So the wind isn't always there. I'm always looking for the wind in order to control where we're going and overcome the currents, if you will. And so that phrase, catch the wind. So the idea of Ahava is we're always seeking God's attention, if you will, and that's destiny. And so in order to control your destiny, you want to evolve from the idea of the current and get to the wind. And so the rabbis in LeDavid, when King David wrote this LeDavid Hashem Ari V'ishi, the first part of it says, a psalm to David, Hashem is my light and my salvation, Mimi Irab, who should I fear? And it keeps going and going about more fear, who should I fear, my enemies and stuff like that. But then at the very end, this is what I read yesterday, the last pasuk, it repeats the same thing twice. Kaveh el Hashem, I will hope in God, Chazak v'yametz libecha, and those two words of Chazak v'yametz, of be strong and have courage, reminds us of Abraham giving his message to, Moshe giving his message to Yehoshua as we're going into the land, that's how you strengthen yourself, the Kaveh el Hashem, and you have hope again in God. So the first Kaveh, I'm going to say Zira, and that's the baseline. And the second, after you have Chazak v'yametz, that's when you get to Ahava, and that's the other thing. And the thing that ties them both together is have faith that God will take care of everything. So have a good Elul.